So I guess we're going to have to deal with the elephant in the room, as so to speak, which was the red alert video, and this was the grandfathering thing. So we're gonna kick this around a little bit, but I think that the important points for people to know is when we rolled that out, we had information that didn't come out for a few weeks that this whole thing for individuals was being rolled out. So we had that information ahead of time. And I think most people don't know exactly what it is we're doing. We can talk a little bit about it, the reason why we did that. But there's one kind of aspect of it, the reason why we did that we can't talk about. So do you want to start you want to just kind of get us into this thing, and then I'll just chime in when required?
Yeah, there was a lot of blowback on the topic of grandfathering, and I get it. Actually, I don't know that anybody out there hates it more than I do. But what I really hate is them rolling out a confiscation program and gun owners being forced to participate in it. And I think trying to find ways to either undermine it or delay it to keep those firearms in the hands of the people who own them and who've owned them safely for decades is of utmost importance, because it will be critically easier to ever roll this back should we find ourselves in a different political situation. So that's kind of where I was coming from. I hate it too. I hate all of this, but we also have to be very aware of the cards that we're dealt and the situation that we're in. You know, I think we hashed this out last time, but we were looking for a court solution, and we've been to the federal court. We've been to the appeals court. We still haven't heard back from the Supreme Court, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket either. And then of course we are also looking for a political solution. We were the only ones who showed up for the election, unfortunately. And, we did a really great job, but it just wasn't quite enough. So we find ourselves in this situation where what's the alternative to do nothing? I don't know that just sitting back, doing nothing and letting them roll this thing out, as messy and disorganized and probably a failure as it's going to be. The problem is there will still be gun owners who will be criminalized by it. So yeah, I got a lot of mixed feelings about it.
Well, this is the thing. There's a couple of things that we should get straight. So when we released that video, this is an attempt to hang on to those guns, obviously. It's an attempt to hold the government's feet to the fire. It's an attempt to expose them for this irresponsible program at a time when Canadians can least afford, anywhere from $1 to $7 billion of this program. And we also want to expose the Liberal government, obviously, for trying to sidestep the responsibility for this wave of violence, unprecedented wave of violence, and them trying to pin it on licensed gun owners. So there's a number of reasons. Now, when this thing started to kind of move sideways, now it wasn't everybody, but the people that didn't like it were very loud and they wanted to share their opinion with everybody, and that's okay too. But when all that started happening, I took it upon myself to get into the trenches on social media and be like, okay, so you think this is the biggest betrayal in the history of firearm advocacy, because to some people it was. And it's like, okay, well, we're just trying to save these guns and keep them in our possession for now. If you believe this is a terrible idea, I am listening to you. So tell me what your idea was. And 9 times out of 10, or whatever it was, right? Like
10 times out of 10.
Yeah, it was like 89 times out of 100, they just had nothing. They were just angry and they wanted to vent, right?
I'm angry too.
Yeah, well, I don't need to mention, like you, I've spent the last 10 years of my career fighting over firearms when I used to do other things that were, everything was going just fine for me, right? So, and I, just like all the other gun owners, believed that there was a finish line there somewhere where I could say, okay, we did it. I can move on now, right? And that point is not now, which is incredibly frustrating and disappointing for me too. And I have just as much money and firearms tied up as everyone else too. And they mean just as much to me as well. So anyway, when I said to people, hey, tell me what I should do. And sometimes I lay it out. I'm like, okay, now you're the CEO of the CCFR and you've got $1 million to spend. You can do whatever you want. Tell me, what do you do? And nobody had anything, right?
Nothing.
Just nobody had anything. And most times they'll just go silent. So one person had said, okay, well, just let it fail. That's what you should do. Just let it fail. And I want to address that because it's important, because what people think of the CCFR, specifically if they support the CCFR, is meaningful to me. So I'm
Yes.
always listening, right? It's not, so we're not in a bubble here. So the reason why you don't sit back and let it fail is, number one, they are rolling something out. They are rolling it out. They're spending tens of millions of dollars a month, and they are going to roll something out. And for the government, what a lot of people don't understand is how all this works. What the government will do is they've got all these people working on it. They're going to make it as complete as they can. They're going to toss this program out. It may not be at the end of the month. I don't believe it's going to be at the end of the month like they say, but it might be at the end of October, or maybe in the beginning of next year, or whatever. They're just going to roll out some piece of crap program that will probably have all kinds of problems. It'll be wildly expensive. They'll spend a pile of money. And then on top of that, they'll get probably a 30% compliance rate because people are so angry because the program is absolutely morally wrong. And when when the money's gone that they allocate to it, they're just going to go like this. They're going to go, that's it. Mission accomplished. Yep. This is a successful rollout. Man, look what we did it. This is a huge country, 10 million square kilometers, but we did it, and we're going to make Canadians safer. And the media will back them up 100%. The bureaucracy will back them up 100%, and it'll be over. And everyone that didn't comply, and I think a lot of people won't, not mentioning who might not comply, but a lot of people won't. But all those people will be stuck with those firearms forever. That will be prohibs. Yeah. And if they have a house fire, or there's a break-in in their house, they're not there and the police enter the house, or whatever situation could happen, and they get caught with that, their life is going to be destroyed. Now, when criminals' lives are destroyed because of, whatever firearm charges, like that doesn't mean anything to them. Their life was on the run as it was. People like you and me, it's devastating, right? So we're the ones that are going to pay the price for that. So anyway, all that to say, if you want to sit back and say, well, watch it fail, don't worry, it will fail, and it will be hailed as a success. And all those urban voters, the elbows up crowd, are just going to be like, yeah, awesome. They completed their promise. So it's no skin off their back if this thing fails. It won't be viewed as a failure, and they'll get everything they want out of it. And we'll all be stuck holding the bag as usual. So to sit back and let it fail really isn't an option. Okay, so
the problem is you'll end up with a bunch of people who, end up having to spend the rest of their lives kind of driven underground to hide these firearms. And that's not good either. And then, of course, again, the ability to overturn that and roll it back, it will become much more difficult. I don't know. It's a tough situation because also people who are upset with me and saying stuff on my social media, and well, the trick is to just not comply. And it's like, if that's what you're going to do, you're still free to do that, brother. Like, nobody's forcing your hand here, right? If you don't like our idea, then no problem. Stick with what you're doing. You're not unaffected by this, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's a touchy subject because there's no good solution here. The best solution, of course, would be for Carney to be like, hey, you know what? Forget it. We're going to roll back all these bans, open up the market again, let all the people have their guns again, and, put everything back to how it was before. If you think that's going to happen, then you probably should make an appointment, because it's not going to happen. He's not going to do that. So a little bit of a reality check is kind of in order to recognize the position that we're in. And it's unfavorable. It sucks.
Yeah. And then you also had people saying, well, you guys are advocating for firearm registration because, grandfathering can't work without registration. It's like, right now, you have the ultimate decision whether or not you tell the government what you have, or whether you want to register it or not register it, or turn it in, or sell it back in a buyback, or sell it to criminal gangs, or destroy them yourself and make a paperweight out of the metal. Like, at the end of the day, you have physical control of all of these firearms. So if you want to participate, if grandfathering was offered, you want to, go ahead and participate. If you don't want to participate and non-compliance is your thing, you don't need the CCFR's permission for that. It was almost like you're forcing me to do this. All we're doing is we're saying to the government, hey, let people keep their firearms, give them another option other than to take them and destroy them. That's it. And I'll tell you, politically, it is a lot easier to bring those guns back, as we've said countless times, if we still have possession of them, because over the last 5.5 years, we have conclusive data that none of those guns had been used in any criminal offenses, nor any multiple victim public shootings. The data is in. We've had possession of all these guns the whole time, and nothing's happened. So it must be something, you know, that like what causes multiple victim public shootings or criminal behavior with firearms must be something other than the possession of firearms in the possession of licensed gun owners, right? So anyway, I know everyone's frustrated. We're frustrated too. You know, I had to battle depression there after the election. But as far as gun groups or firearm advocacy groups, the CCFR has done everything. And I'm going to go a step further, has done everything that has been done. How about that? You know, we showed up in the election. You can go find our final report on Elections Canada as well, and add to that the poster project that we did before the writ was dropped. We're the ones fighting.
And that was the time to show up with your war chest.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, right? I mean, the political solution, and I don't know if I've said this before, but I feel like I have said it publicly. But if everybody had shown up and did what the CCFR did, and I mean everybody, we would, all of this would be being undone as we speak.
Yeah.
All of it would have been being dismantled as we are, but they didn't. But lots of people decided, oh, we're just going to keep blabbing on social media, and we're not going to do anything in the most important election in probably 2 generations. So, you know, it's a tough spot. And let's just hope this government can end somehow. Maybe there's a non-confidence vote in the next year, and we maybe still have a few guns and can roll it back. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Either way, doing nothing isn't an option for us. We're not just going to sit back and spout a bunch of stuff. It's important us to, you know, no matter what happens in the end, to know that we have done everything we can, and we didn't just run our mouths. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah. So hopefully I wasn't too harsh, but it is what it is, man.
If you're not subscribed, please do that. The notification bell is great. Yeah, if you want to be notified when we do a new video, great. If you don't, that's okay too. But if you can subscribe, that would be awesome. I'd really like to see us get to 100,000 subscribers, which would be good. Okay, that's it. Thanks everyone. Take care, and we will see you soon.